Alright, let's get this one going. Hi friends, we're going to get this one going. Just getting the Instagram stream going. So, hello everybody. We're going to get this one going. Hopefully the Instagram one gets going. Just give it a second. Hi everybody. We're going to get this one going. Alright. Give me a second, everybody. Just getting this. See if we'll get the Instagram one going, but I don't think so. Alright, let's see what we're going to do. Give me a second, folks. I just want to get the Instagram one going. Okay, let me try this again. Hello, friends. We're going to get this one going. We're doing a client build today. I'm just getting some settings going. I don't know why it doesn't like me. Give me a second. Yeah, we're not live. Give me a second. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Give it a second, folks. So that's not going to work, then we're just going to never know with the Instagram one. It's always kind of weird with OBS. So I think we're just going to get it going, everybody. So I think we're just going to, I don't think Instagram's going to like us today, so. Try one more time, then we'll get going. Alright, screw it. We're just going to do Twitch today. Alright, everybody. We're going to get going. This is going to be cool, folks. So we're doing something a little bit different. We're essentially just soldering in switches and kind of talking about this build and kind of teasing some stuff that's going to be kind of upcoming. So what we're going to be doing today, we're doing a couple client commission builds today. These builds I've actually been sitting on for a really long time. This client actually commissioned me back in August, believe it or not. So we're doing a couple of builds. If you look at these plates, they're actually different. These aren't 60%. We're doing a 65%, which is really kind of cool. So these are internal PCB and plate assemblies for a Keycult No.2 65, and these are actually for the same client. So we're doing this for a international client. So this is a client who's outside of the United States. They reached out to me back in August, seeing if I could do an Alps. They'd seen my stuff online, and they asked me like, hey, can you do a build for me in a Keycult No.2 65? And I said, I'd be happy to do it. The problem is I don't know of a lot of 65% boards. There's not, the thing with Alps, there's not a lot of 65% options. Most of what you're going to see is either full size, TKL, or 60%. Because the issue is keycap compatibility, particularly with this navigation cluster right here. That navigation column creates a lot of issues unless you're using things like DCS keycaps. It's really hard to use like vintage keycaps on these particular boards because there's no real good standard on what you can stick here that all line up profile wise, and also having that smaller right shift as well. So the client actually, I told him like I know of someone who made a Alps PCB for a Keycult No.2 65, and I said like good luck finding one. The client said, well, I actually happen to have two of them. So I told the client like we can do it. I gave him my price and we settled on switches, and they gave me the plate file. So they had the Alps plate file, and what took so long is one of the friends of the channel and one of my sponsors is Hype Keyboards. Tom's the owner over there. So I sent the plate overs to him in early September. and it just took a while. So Tom was waiting on new aluminum stock to come into his warehouse so he can make more plates. And I had a huge order of plates to come in yesterday. And that's kind of what I was if you saw my Instagram, I teased a bunch of really exciting upcoming projects, including these two, and there's some bunch of really cool stuff that's coming on, including Alps and Topere. Thankfully the client was really patient, really understanding. I let them know, like, always gave them updates if Tom had an update for me, like when their switches were restored and ready. We'll go over those in a second. We kind of went through it, and one thing I've kind of put in my overlay, if you guys kind of look right here, there we go. I have a little logo for Hype Keyboards. So I asked Tom of Hype Keyboards, since he is a friend of this is gonna be Alps today, but we do have a Topere build coming up with the plates I got from Tom yesterday. But one thing about I asked Tom, like, I've been doing a lot of business with Tom over at Hype Keyboards, and I asked him, like, hey, like, I know I'm a small creator, like, I'm not a big guy, I'm a small fish in a very, very large pond. But I asked Tom, like, hey, would you want to be like one of the sponsors of the channel? And Tom said absolutely. So we have one of the Alps projects that we are going to be doing in the future is actually going to be a personal build for Tom over at Hype Keyboards that we're going to be building in the future. When that build is ready to go, it's going to be really cool, and the board it's going to go in is going to be really, really special. And that's just kind of my way to kind of say thank you to Tom. I've given Tom a lot of business. I've ordered, I'd say, I don't know, 30, 40 plates from Tom, and those plates are not cheap. So I've spent a good chunk of money with Tom, and now I've kind of gotten to the point where, like, I basically can get whatever plate I want from Tom, and he'll send them to me. That's really, Tom's really gracious. I really appreciate Tom's support, and a lot of these Alps builds that I've been doing would not be possible without Tom from Hype Keyboards. So that's why Tom's logo is going to be part of my overlay going forward, especially when we do Alps builds, because when we do Alps builds, the plates are coming from Tom. So that's going to be really cool. So I'm really happy to have like a really kind of like long-term sponsor who we're going to be working with, and who's going to help be making a lot of the projects we do for going forward, especially with like modern Alps conversions possible. So big thank you to Tom, and just the great work he does in the community. He's a great dude. And again, if you ever need custom plates made, Tom over at Hype's Keyboard is the way to go. Also, if you don't have a plate file, you could mail in the plate to Tom, and he can reverse engineering it. So oh dude, 3D keycap, I'm really happy. Like, Tom's a good guy. Like, I hope if I ever find myself up in Canada, and I'm in Tom City, I would definitely try to hit him up, and I'd love to like get like a pint or get food on me as a thank you to Tom. He's a good guy, really good, down to earth dude. And again, the build that we're going to be working on in the future, probably the next couple of weeks, it'll be really nice to do a build that's going to be, I'm going to build, and it's specifically going to be mailed back to Tom up at Hype Keyboards, because that's going to be for one of his really cool boards in his personal collection that he's been wanting to do Alps. And the board this build I'm doing for him is going to be, the board it's going in is absolutely insane. It's the most insane board we could ever pick to put that board to put this Alps assembly in, which is cool. So now, one thing about this build tonight, one of the things I do when people for client builds is one of the ways to keep down costs is if someone's interested in doing a modern Alps conversion, I usually try to find a board that the person has in their personal collection, and I'll just build an internal Alps assembly, and then I mail that assembly to the person, and then that keeps shipping costs down, and also that kind of lowers the liability and the risk of like the board. Like, if they mail me their actual keyboard, it could get damaged or lost in transit. It's just a lower liability for both me and also the client. So I personally don't own any Keycult boards. I actually don't have a Keycult No.2 or No.2 65 on hand. So we're just building the internal assembly. So we're not going to be able to mount these in any type of board. The client did tell me that this is the plate file that, again, many other people who have done the Alps build conversion for this board have used. So we know everything's going to fit. Again, Keycults are really common boards to convert to Alps, especially their TKLs. Again, the Keycult TKLs are great candidates for Alps conversions, and there's a lot of really good documented, again, builds of people doing that. So we have two plates here. So we have a black plate, which is really cool. And then also the client wanted one plate that was red. So this anodization from Hype Keyboards is really, really cool. So this is a really cool plate. We're going to be going, so we're building this board with Cherry MX stabs because the client is going to be putting DCS keycaps. So I actually don't have their keycaps. So the client has the actual keyboard and the DCS keycaps they're going to be putting on. So I literally most of my job pretty much was getting the plates made and then restoring the switches and getting everything assembled. So I'll show you the switches we're going to do for these two builds. So we're doing a linear build. So we're going to use green Alps for our linear build, which is going to be really cool. And then for we're going to do a tactile build, and the client specifically requested orange Alps. So these are going to be two really, really cool builds that the client wanted. So the client had two of these PCBs, and when we were actually talking, the client said he was willing to sell me one of these PCBs because this PCB was made by a designer called Knighting. And he ran these PCBs a few years ago. I'd say probably the beginning part of the pandemic. But these PCBs have not been run in a few years. So finding this particular PCB is extremely difficult, especially brand new. These PCBs have never been soldered. So that's just one thing about these PCBs is they're brand new. They've never been used. I did plug them in with the JST, so we will be using this JST just to test them because we do have to test the switches. But that's what we're going to be doing. I already put the stabs in. We're using, for stabilizers, these have already been lubed. I did these off camera because I just wanted to make this a little bit of a quicker stream. So the client was okay. I requested Type Plus stabilizers, so we have these stabilizers. So since it's a 65%, we only have 4 stabilizers per board. So this PCB and the plate, it's a pretty fixed layout. So we're going 7U space bars, and then we're going a 2U back shift. 2U backspace, and then there's no step caps lock. So we're using standard caps lock. So that's what we're going to be doing, and that's what these plates are cut and designed for. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're mainly just soldering in switches, and then we're going to be thoroughly testing these PCBs and making sure that they work. So we're basically doing 2 builds on here tonight. That's what we're really going to be doing. So we'll kind of be rotating back and forth between these. So I want to start off with just kind of doing the corners on these particular boards, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So I just want to look something at my greens really quick because these are really cool switches. So it's cool. And I love, these are 2 probably of my personal favorite Alps. I love orange Alps. I love just their feel, their sound. They're absolutely fantastic. So yeah, with green Alps are going to go with the black plate, and then our orange Alps are going to go with the red plate. So that's what the client requested for that. So that's going to be really cool. So we're just going to solder in 4 switches in the corners just to kind of hold everything in place, and then we'll kind of go from there. So let's get the green. Let's get our 4 green Alps right here, and then there we go. Sorry about that. And then we'll get everything kind of mounted in there. So just make sure our switches are kind of properly seated. Cool, we got those. And then let's put in our switches for the oranges. So we'll grab 4 orange Alps, and we'll get these going. So really, really cool switches that we're going to be working with. So I'm really, really excited and really happy to get this going. And again, to really kind of make my partnership with Hike Keyboards really official. So I'm really happy to be able to work with Tom and to have him be a major part of these Alps builds that we're going to be doing. So that's going to be awesome. So we're just getting those in. So there we go, folks. That is pretty good. We're just going to, one thing I do want to do is a little bit of lube there. I just want to get that little bit of excess lube right there. We're just going to kind of push in there. Yep. Awesome. Cool. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get the soldering iron fired up. And then we'll start off with the orange ones, just kind of solder everything in. Let's turn off my event. Let's fire up the soldering iron, get it dialed in. We'll let that warm up, and then we'll just kind of get going, folks. So that's going to be really, really nice. So let's flip this board over, and then let's get these soldered in. So we're basically just doing a solder job tonight on these boards, and I'll kind of showcase some other things that are just kind of exciting, some exciting projects we'll kind of show off. Because there is a lot of really cool projects coming up. So both personal and client commission, which is going to be really cool. So Carol actually picked up another client commission via Carolus, which is really cool. So We're going to be doing a modern Alps build in a full size, which is going to be really cool. So we're going to start sourcing parts for that particular board, kind of working with the client on terms of what we want to do and just kind of how thorough we want to be in terms of what they're looking for. And we also have some cool restorations coming up. But this is a build I just wanted to, I'm going to be out of town for a conference this weekend. And I just wanted to get this particular build done and shipped off tomorrow because the client's been patiently waiting for over 2 months. So I want to get this build built tonight, test these, make sure everything is good to go, include some pack everything up, include some spare switches for them, and then we'll ship this off by international mail to the client. So they're going to be the client's going to be really, really happy to get this, and I'm very excited for them to finally have this a beautiful build in hand. And I hope they enjoy these for many years to come. And when they take these out to keyboard meets, when it's on their desk, like it'll be a really cool Keycult No.2 65 because it's going to be Alps. So that's going to be really cool. So we got our soldering iron fired up. So we're going to get our solder wick going. I'm going to flip this around just to make it a little bit easier on me. So let me get my solder wick going. So yeah, let's get it going. And let's start doing these. So. Looking good. Just want to get these corners going. And then we're going to get going. What's up, Welvin? We're doing a client commission build for a couple Keycult No.2 65 builds. So it's our first Keycult that we're doing, which is pretty cool. So this is kind of my first experience with Keycult, which is really cool. So I'm really excited to be able to do this client. This is for an international client outside of the United States. So I'm really excited to be able to do this for them. They've been waiting on this build for like 2 months. So we're building it tonight, and then we're going to ship it out. So I'll kind of tell you, we're just building internal assemblies. I don't have any Keycults in my personal collection. But so we're just building the internal assemblies for the client. So these are 65%, which is kind of unusual for Alps. We normally don't do 65%, just because of keycap compatibility is kind of weird and tough. So this will be a really, really cool and kind of unique build for the client. So we're just kind of holding everything in place, making sure everything is looking good. So the client also is going to be using DCS keycaps. That's really the only option for this particular board. So that's why we have Cherry MX stabilizers. So Welvin, we're using similar keycaps to like what we have on your particular Alps build. So that's what we're doing right there. So now we're going to get our 4 corners in for 1 pin. Now we're just going to do the second pin on each of these corners, and then we'll kind of go from there. So cool. It's looking good. Looking good. Yeah, it's a really cool plate. This is our first these plates are courtesy of Tom at Hype Keyboards. So if you notice on my overlay, I have this new logo right here in the bottom corner right here. So that's again, Tom is like one of my sponsors now. I got a huge order of plates from Tom. Most of them he sent to me for these builds we're doing. So I want to proudly kind of display Tom's logo on my Twitch overlay because Tom is essentially a partner and a friend and a sponsor of the channel now. So he's a really good dude, and pretty much all of my Alps builds are featuring plates made by Tom over at Hype Keyboards. So he's an integral part in terms of the modern Alps work that we do with boards, for us to be, whether it be my personal builds or client commissions. So, and we're also going to be doing an exciting Alps project for actually the owner of Hype Keyboards, Tom. I'm going to be building an Alps internal assembly for one of his keyboards. That's probably going to be the most insane keyboard we've built a Alps assembly for, which is going to be really cool. So that's just kind of a way to say thank you to Tom for the partnership I have with him, which is really cool. So really good guy. If you ever need custom plates made, whether they be Cherry MX, Topre, Alps, or if you need a plate made or reversed engineered, Tom will be able to do it for you. Like for example, my Owl Labs Jelly Evolve, it came with a polymer plate that was flex cut to all hell, and I hated it. So I emailed Tom and I said, hey, can you, like, I reached out to Owl Labs and they don't have the plate files for that board anymore. So I essentially asked Tom, like, hey, can you, like, reverse engineer and make a plate for this board? And he said, yeah, we can do that. Just mail me the plate. So I mailed him one of the plates I had. And then, like I say, like a week or two later, he sends me the updated plate file that he created that has no flex cuts. And he said, what material you want? I said, I want it out of aluminum because that's how I like my plates. And Tom made it for me. So there's also a plate that you don't have a plate file for, that Tom doesn't have a plate file for. You can send him an actual plate, physical plate from that board, and he'll reverse engineer it and then like have flex cuts, have no flex cuts, or make it out of any material that you want. So that's one thing that's really cool. And again, Tom can make plates not only for Cherry Mex and Alps, he also does topiary plates. So I have it on the plate package that I got from Tom yesterday. We have a topiary plate. So we will be doing a topiary project here in the near future. There's a bunch of other builds I got to get to before we do that topiary build, but we will be doing a topiary build that's built around one of Tom's plates. So Tom actually designed that plate for me and modified it so I could build this topiary build the way that I want to do it. So that's really cool. So, all right, this one's good. So we have the red plate with the orange Alps. So this is going to be an orange Alps Keycult assembly, which is going to be really cool. So we're just kind of starting in the 4 switches because we're going to kind of be switching back and forth between these builds. But we just want to get the 4 corner switches in, just to kind of hold everything in place. But that's looking really good. We're going to now move on to our green Alps assembly for this client. So we have green linear Alps, which are going to be really nice. So let's kind of flip this around. Let's get our vent going, and then let's get that green Alps assembly built. And then I just want to quickly test these switches, and then we'll just kind of work our way around the boards and solder these switches in. So we're mostly just doing a solder job. The stabs have already been lubed and are ready to go. We will test them with some of my DCS keycaps. So I have DCS white on black that we're going to use just to kind of do testing and just make sure the fitment and everything and alignment's good. But we should be good to go, folks. So this will be a fun little build that we're doing for this client. So all right, yeah, that's looking good. So yeah, we're doing some good stuff. I'm really excited for this build. Again, this client ordered this with me in August. So the client's been waiting a little over 2 months for this. It's not that sourcing parts was difficult. I was actually waiting on Tom Hype keyboards. Tom was waiting on a bunch of stock he was waiting on a bunch of aluminum stock to come in, and it just took a really long time for it to come from his international supplier. So I just kind of, thankfully this client was really, really patient and wasn't in a rush to get these boards. And this client was super, super awesome. So I'm really grateful for this client for being so patient. So they're really cool. So yeah, we're just getting these in. So we got those in there pretty good. And then we'll now start doing these other pins. And then we'll just test these switches in the corners really quick. And then we'll get going. A little bit more there. Cool. With those two, let's do these two, and then we'll start testing. So it's looking good. Cool. All right. Let's just kind of put this to the side. And there we go, folks. So we have our 4 corners kind of done on each of these plates. So that's really, really nice. So again, we're doing an orange Alps build and we're doing a green Alps build. So we're doing 2 dual builds, which is really cool. So another thing too about this Alps build, this PCB right here is called a Knighting Keycult PCB. This is actually a really rare PCB. It's actually really hard to track down. These are 2 brand new PCBs that the client tracked down. So it's really kind of cool. So this is going to be one of the kind of cooler Keycults that kind of makes the rounds where this person lives, which is really cool. So I'm plugging in this JST because this is just going to allow us to test, because we have to thoroughly test these switches as we kind of go along, folks. So I'm just going to test this one in, and these are Vial PCBs. So we're going to get Vial open up. Hello, Discord. Cool. All right, let's get Vial opened up, and let's start testing our matrix. Come on, Vial, let's get it open. There we go. And everything looks good in terms of our programming. I did program these last night. Yeah, the green Alps are probably going to be the most frustrating, to be completely honest. And one of these green Alps are being weird. So let's just kind of minimize this. So this is binding. So let me get my switch opener. So one thing I will say, I love green Alps, but they're probably the most frustrating switch I work with because of their switch plates and just because of their design. These are the oldest Alps switches within the Alps SKCM, SKCL line. So these have the kind of the highest failure rate among Alps switches. So I really I've kind of learned that they're just kind of a pain in the butt to work with. So that's just kind of interesting with green Alps. I really don't like doing green Alps, to be if I'm being completely honest with y'all. Just because of their age in the Alps lineup, they're just kind of a pain in the butt. So, and then this one's being a little bit weird, so we're going to compress these switch plates. So we're going to be doing a lot of, I'd say the orange Alps I have tested. These ones actually were in a previous build, so those orange Alps are pristine. But it's this green Alps build is going to be a lot of fun. Just kind of thoroughly testing everything and getting it all going. That's going to be kind of the fun part. So it's just getting everything working. So yeah, so there we go. Got those. Let's plug them in. All right, let's get Vial opened up. All right, let's go to my matrix tester and test those. Cool. All right, those corners are good. So let's unplug our JST, and then let's get our other build. Just want to test these 4 corners just because they're holding everything in. So these orange Alps should be good. These are really cool. Orange Alps are a great tactile Alp, probably the most affordable of the tactile Alps you can get, which is really nice. And then this one is programmed good. Awesome. All right. We're good. So let me just kind of start putting switches in these boards, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So, all right, let me just get the Vial out of here, and then we'll get going. So, all right, we're going to start off by putting some orange Alps. So I have a ton of orange Alps on hand. So we're going to start off inserting orange Alps. We're just going to put all the switches in one go, and then we're just going to kind of go from there. So a lot of orange Alps, everybody. So let's just insert these switches, and we'll get it going. So we'll put them in our... Still do our stabilize keys and just kind of work our way around. But yeah, this is going to be a really cool little build. So I'm really happy for this client, and this is going to be a really cool build, and I cannot wait to see how these builds look in their particular Keycult. So again, I know Keycult is like one of those controversial names within the keyboard hobby. I don't really have anything either for or against them. Just the thing with me, I'm very particular on what keyboards I add to my personal collection and what I purchase with my hard-earned money. And just the Keycult designs have never appealed to me. I know they're kind of the OGs and kind of the modern space, really kind of, their designs are really kind of cool back in the day, but there's so many cool offerings now. They're not for me. I do appreciate what like the people at Novel Keys have been doing with bringing back Keycult with their partnership with Keycult and kind of making Keycult boards more accessible to a much larger audience. So I do appreciate what has been happening over like especially with Novel Keys. But for me personally, again, I have so many amazing boards with my collection. I don't see a need or a desire to add any Keycult stuff. But again, I'm not. That's not me like dissing or disliking Keycult. Like again, I'm just kind of indifferent. I'm not a big fan of their designs. And for me to want to purchase your board, I really have to like your design, and that's a very subjective thing with Keycult. And again, there are also like boards I really like that some of my friends within the keyboard hobby really don't like. It's not that the board is bad; they just don't like the design. So there are some boards you either love them or you hate them. And again, it's just like anything on the internet. People are very opinionated, and people like the world to know what they think about things. So like for Keycult, again, they're a good brand. I think they make good stuff, but I don't think they nearly deserve as much as the hate that they get. So, and again, I think it's really nice what Novel Keys has been doing lately to bring their boards back. So, and I know people who have gotten some of the new Novel Keys collaboration Keycult boards, and I know those people have been pretty happy with what they've been getting. So, I think that's a really good thing. So, and I think that's a win because, again, having more options within the keyboard space and giving people cool stuff to purchase and definitely check out. Yeah. Yeah, the number 2 TKL is pretty sick. I think it's a really cool board. Like, I think that's probably my, like, if I was forced to say there was a board I liked, it would probably be their number 2 TKL. Like, TKLs are probably there's a reason I have, like, a metric truckload of TKLs, especially with, like, my Alps builds. Like, I love TKLs. I think they're gorgeous. I think it's the most useful. So that's probably their best board. But like, for example, like this 265, I have no desire to ever get one of these, even for Alps, because my 65% collection is pretty cool. I mean, I have a Kohaku, I have a TGR 910, like, I have a Mix 65, I have a DNWorks 02, I have a Matrix NOS, a BIP Boop, like, I have a Matrix Vita. So, like, I have some really, really cool 65%, and I don't see a need to kind of purchase any more 65% because I like, especially like having the Kohaku. Like, I have a British Racing Green Kohaku, which is one of the rare Kohakus, and like that's like top dog. Like, I don't know how I get any better than having it for 65% in a Kohaku. I really don't. And again, I got my Kohaku like earlier this year, and I was like, I knew when I was doing my research on them, I wanted a British Racing Green one, and I got lucky in tracking down one from a user in New Zealand at MSRP, and I got really lucky with the deal I got on it. And because I know some people pay absurd amounts of money for Kohakus, like, it's stupid. Like, the Kohaku is a $600 keyboard. It's cool for that. It's not cool for $1,000+. Like, I think they're objectively better. If you're gonna spend $1,000 on a 65%, there's way better and cooler stuff you can get than a Kohaku for $1,000. But it's a really cool board, and I love. So like 65%, I think it's probably one of the most useful and compact. And I get why they're the most popular, but like, especially right now where the hobby is, the 65% market is very oversaturated and just very busy. So like, I am okay and content with the 65s I have. I don't see a desire to get any more of those. I am way more interested in like trying to get more 40% or getting like more full sizes or getting more Alps and vintage stuff than getting like new modern 65. So there we go, folks. There are orange Alps mounted in our plate and PCB assembly. And that red plate just looks freaking awesome. That's going to look so sick for the client. So we'll get those soldered in and getting those looking really, really nice. So, all right. We're going to put that to the side, and then we're going to get our green Alps mounted now. So let's dump out our green Alps. We have a ton of really good green Alps. So, yeah, but it's a good time, everybody. So I'm really excited to get this board, these boards built, and then once we get everything soldered in, we'll thoroughly test all the switches, and then we'll probably be off to on stream, folks. We're not doing any final assembly because, again, I don't have a Keycult number 265. I don't own any Keycults. It's just they're not my kind of board. So, but yeah, but that's no by no means me hating on Keycult. So, yeah, so we're just getting these ones going. So this should be a relatively quick stream, folks. Just making sure our pins are all looking good. And yeah, we're looking really good. So yeah, one thing about these green Alps that's just really nice is these things ping like a mofo. Like, if you ping, that's just how the springs are. Like, the keyboards that green Alps were in back in the day were called Ping Masters. And they just ping. That's just part of their sound and their feel. Okay, so Black Alps are good. I think Black Alps don't deserve the hate, but there's two distinct variants of Black Alps. So you're going to have the earlier and better version of Black Alps, but are less common and harder to find, which are called Pine Black Alps. Those are probably the better version of Black Alps. Those are really good switches. The more common and the one that unjustly gets a lot of hate are going to be what we call Bamboo Black Alps, which are found in like your Dell AT101s, your AT101Ws, and a ton of different boards came with Bamboo Black Alps. I have a board, my AO3 Polaris is built with Bamboo Black Alps that I got from a keyboard that was used at the University of Southern California, fight on. And I love them. They get a lot of hate. If you had to rank all the Alps switches, they're probably at the very bottom. But they're a good switch overall. I mean, they're better than like Cherry MX Browns and like most tactiles on the Cherry MX side. But for Alps, there's just a lot better switches like Pine Blacks or like Orange Alps and things like that. But like, great switch. They're Bamboo Black Alps, which are probably the Alps you have, are the ones you're looking at. They're really good switches. Now, the better version of Black Alps, they're called Bamboo. They're called Pine Black Alps. Those are much harder to find. I've actually been looking for a set of Pine Black Alps for a while, and I have a set of Pine Blacks right here. These are way harder to find, and they're much more expensive, and they have a much better tactile and smoother feel. So, but yeah, Black Alps are fantastic. Like, definitely think about getting a set. They're really cool. And since they're so freaking cheap, like, you can get a Dell AT101W for like $30. And they're really good to like linear mod them or click mod them, which is really nice. Because they're so cheap, it doesn't matter if you're modding them. So, I mean, if you're interested, if you get it, I would definitely consider either click modding it so you can modify the tactile leaves to make instead of being tactile, they actually make the clicky sound. Or if you remove the tactile leaves, then you can make them linear. So that's one thing that's really, really cool. So a lot of people report them being very scratchy and very and just an inferior compared. Because the one thing with Alps is Black Alps are one of like the Bamboo Black Alps, which are found in most old Dell keyboards, are one of the last versions of Alps that Alps made before Alps sold off their keyboard business. So one thing with Alps is as time went on, their quality control went down. So the earlier Alps, like Blue Alps or Orange Alps or Green Alps, are really, really sought after because, again, that's when Alps was kind of at the peak of their QC and their manufacturing. But when you get to some of the later Alps, like Bamboo White Clicky Alps or Bamboo Black Tactile Alps, those are really, really late Alps in like the late 90s. And the quality had really gone down. So that's just the thing with Alps is, and also they weren't very consistent in their manufacturing. Like I've torn apart dozens of Alps boards and restored probably thousands of Alps switches at this point. There is not a lot of consistency in terms of how Alps manufactured these. So that's the thing. So like the earlier the better. That's kind of the preferred thing. So and also like there's not much price difference going from Bamboo Black Alps to like Salmon or Orange Alps, which are objectively superior switches. Like you can get Orange or Salmon Alps for really, really cheap in old Apple keyboards, and those are going to be, or even like Ivory Alps, and those are going to be night and day different, or better. But I really like them. Like, I mean, I can pull you out my Polaris. It's kind of a hodgepodge build right now. This thing is going to get torn down in the next few weeks and rebuilt. Don't mind the keycap set. I was just kind of putting this keycap set. This keycap set's a teaser for an upcoming project, but they have a really good feel. I personally really like Bamboo Black Alps. They're so cheap, but I freaking love them. So this was actually my first modern Alps build that I did, and this is really special because these Alps switches came out of a keyboard that was gifted to me by the USC Mechanical Keyboard Club. And I'm an alumni of USC, and I've been pretty active with their keyboard club over the past couple of years. And earlier this year at a meet they were hosting, they gifted me 4 Alps boards. So I gave one to my friend, and then the other 3 Alps boards I harvested, and I put the switches in 3 of my modern Alps builds. So that's one of my Alps builds, and my 2 Frog TKLs have the USC have switches from the old USC keyboards, which are really cool. So the switches, they're not the best, but I like the story, and there's a lot of sentimental value to those switches because of their story and where they came from. So that's really cool. So, but yeah, overall, it's just like, I mean, Black Alps, I think they're fantastic. And also, if you want to learn more about Alps and just kind of screw around with Alps, get an old Dell keyboard, tear it apart, and then you can kind of learn about Alps and not spend a lot of money. Because like I'd also be very concerned if you said, "Oh, I want Blue Alps. I'm going to buy a Blue Alps keyboard and I'm going to experiment with that as my first keyboard in Alps." And I think you're crazy because you're probably going to break them or ruin them. So yeah, Black Alps, it's a very low bar to entry because like if you ruin them, you're only out like 30 bucks. So that's like the nice thing too. So, but also those old Dell keyboards are just fun. Like they're fun to screw around with and fun to mess around with. And most of them still work, even though those are probably like lesser quality boards. Like those old Dell keyboards are nothing like these puppies. Like my Northgate Omnikeys, like these are amazing. Like these things are badass. Like probably the best Alps lineup of keyboards ever created. And I have like 2 more coming in. I bought one, and then tragically I opened it up the other night and it was completely destroyed. Unfortunately, it was not even worth saving. Unfortunately, it was kind of heartbreaking. I only spent $60 on it, so I wasn't too heartbroken. But I found another one for a reasonable price. It wasn't $60, but it wasn't like the insane price that some people ask for Northgate Omnikeys. So I have 2 Northgate Omnikeys on the way, which is going to be really cool. And there's a total of 11 Northgate Omnikey models. So I'll have, if I get those to all 5 of the 11. Which is really cool. So I want to get the other, 10. So it'll be 5 of 10. So I'm halfway to completing my Northgate Omnikey collection. So I want to have the complete product lineup of Northgate Omnikeys, which is really, really cool. So yeah, so those are really cool. And again, I have up here on my desk, I have one of the Northgate Omnikeys. I have my Black Label Omnikey built with Blue Alps. This thing is so freaking good. So good. Blue Alps, all-time favorite switch. I got this board right here for 80 frickin' bucks. Like the board was in pretty decent condition, and it had Blue Alps. So $80 to get a full set of Blue Alps plus a keyboard. It's really cool and rare. Heck yeah. This was a no-brainer, and it was a steal. I got that board for. So I was really, really happy with that keyboard. So, but yeah, we're looking pretty good getting these green Alps in here and getting this assembly going. So I'm really happy with this. So, but yeah, green Alps definitely the more. Oh, dude, this was a no-brainer. Someone posted this in Careless's server, and I'm like, well, I'm not expecting to buy a Northgate Omnikey, but here we go. I know the black label. I mean, the gold badge one is like really rare. So when you look for Northgate Omnikeys, this is the earliest Northgate Omnikey with that gold badge and the most sought after. And if you find one of these, it's gonna have Blue Alps. Like these only came. This particular model of Northgate Omnikey only came with Blue Alps. Pretty much all the other Northgate Omnikeys came with white clicky Alps, which are the successor to Blue Alps when Alps was originally manufacturing. So, which is really cool. And again, Blue Alps, pretty much bar none, everyone can pretty much, it's almost universal agreement within the Alps community that like Blue Alps are the best. So, yeah. So so Blue Keeps, you are absolutely correct. There's 2 models of there's a few 102 models that I'm trying to track down. That had white Alps, which is cool. So yeah, I definitely want I want the blue label of this particular keyboard. So those are I have a list of all the Omnikey models. I've pretty much compiled 10 because I know you have one that's branded by a different like company. But my goal is to go after all the Northgate Omnikeys that are labeled and branded Northgate Omnikey. I don't want to go after any Omnikeys that they made with OEM makers. So I want to go after those. And that's going to be really cool. So once I get like my collection of Northgate Omnikeys with like that are branded by them, I may then consider going after Northgate Omnikeys that they made as OEM and someone else dropped their label onto it. Because I know that's one of the ones you got, which is really cool. But yeah, these Northgate Omnikeys are pretty much, I think, my favorite vintage Alps board. I know some people on Careless's server have said, wait till you try some other boards. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know how you get much better than Northgate Omnikeys. Like these things, solid steel bottom. Like you have the steel mounting plate is ridiculously heavy. And like the top case is high quality ABS plastic that's very thick. I don't know how you top that quality, which is pretty good. So I really love those boards. So, all right, I need to grab a couple switches from my main portion over here, and then we'll get going. So we need 3 more switches from here. So we'll grab those 3 green Alps, and we'll kind of go from there. Yeah, so I'm not at the moment. I want to go after the 10 models of Northgate Omnikey that, again, are labeled Northgate Omnikey. So I've compiled the 10 different models. So with the 2 coming in, I'll have 5 of the 10. So, and then once I have those, although the remaining 5 I need, the one that's going to be such a pain in the butt to track down is the Northgate Omnikey 101P. Like, that's the one with the 2 Windows keys. That one's so freaking expensive. There's only one listed on eBay right now, and they're asking like $500 for it. I'm like, I hate you. So definitely going to be trying to be mindful looking for a 101P, because that's the one I really, really want. eventually. That'll probably be the last one I get because I think that's the one that is the most kind of expensive. Okay, just checking a couple of these. Are these all my... Just making sure the switch plates are correct on these because there's different variant. There we go. I want a switch plate like that. So... Yeah, that 101P is pretty rare. That's the only one that's kind of absurdly expensive. The other 4 Omni keys that I want to get of the remaining 5 are like $200-ish, under $200-ish dollars. But yeah, that 101P is the most expensive. So that'll probably be the last Northgate Omni key I get. And I think you were telling me that one has simplified white Alps because I think that was probably the last Alps board they made, or at least in that main line of Omni keys. So I know when I get that one, I'm throwing away those simplified Alps. I do not care for those things to even try and restore those. And I would just put pine whites in it or something like that. So, all right, we got our switches mounted. So we're doing 2 internal assemblies for Keycult No.2 65s. So we're going to start off with the green ones, and then we'll do our orange Alps. So that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to flip this around. I'll move this one over to the side just so I can move my vents back and forth, and we'll get going, folks. Let's fire this up. And then we'll just kind of go from there. All right. Perfect. Let's get my solder wire going, and then we'll get these ones going. Cool. Yeah, so we're literally just soldering switches in and then testing these things. Okay, I'm just going to do some over here just to kind of really seat everything down. Cool. Cool. All right, hello friends, welcome, welcome. Again, we are doing a really cool Alps build here for an international client. So this is a really cool build. Really excited to get this one going for them. So this build's been a long time in the making. We've been trying to get, this client actually commissioned this build back in August. But what took so much time is actually waiting on plates from Tom over at Height Keyboards. He actually had ran out of stock for plates, so he was waiting on it to come in from his supplier. So thankfully that the client for this particular build was really awesome and really understanding. So they were very, very patient, and I'm going to mail this board out via international shipping tomorrow so that the client can have this board as soon as possible. So this is a really cool board. So we're really excited, and it's going pretty well so far. So we're just getting to the soldering part of the build. So it's coming along pretty good. Nice. Looking really good. So yeah, we're getting it going. Okay, green Alps are going in. Perfect. And then this last one right here. Cool. Alright, that top row is pretty firmly held in there, which is really nice. So awesome. Let's do these other ones over here, and then we're just gonna kind of work our Cool. Yeah, I should do a category. That should be fun. Thank you. So, again, I usually just launch everything from OBS. So, thank you for the recommendation. That is definitely something we want to do in the future. So, it's going to be a good times. Yeah, like I said, we don't do video games here. We build keyboards and we build technology. So, we're here to have fun. We're here to educate people. And I'm just here to have fun, everybody. I do this keyboard building for fun. Again, it is nice when I get to do these like client commissions or do like sponsored builds or review boards. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this because it's fun. It's a fun time, everybody. This is just a good time. So, you know, we're doing this because it's fun. So. Coming along, folks. Almost done with this first number row. So that's really nice. Looking good. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. We got that row done. Gonna kind of work our way down. So yeah, good times, everybody. Looking good. Just making sure everything's properly seated. Cool. That's coming along. Awesome. Perfect. That's going good. Let's move on over here. Let's do our space bars coming along. All right, let's do our space bar here. All right. Cool. Space bar is held down, which is pretty good. Yeah, this is mostly going to be a soldering job today. Coming along, folks. Alright. Coming along. So yeah, this is making good time on this one today. Okay, let's push all those down, make sure we're good. But yeah. Okay, so I'll do. I want to give my fingers a rest. So again, I found that board. So the keyboard, it was actually in the e-waste bin of the engineering school over at the University of Southern California. So you just kind of have to talk to people who maybe work in the IT department, maybe work in like the science or the engineering schools. Again, a lot of the thing that's really kind of sad with Alps and the old vintage Alps boards, like they're pretty cheap and easily to find on like eBay and like thrift shops and like Marketplace. But the thing you got to take into consideration, the vast majority of these keyboards were thrown away and recycled and destroyed. So, and again, to the average not crazy person who's into this hobby, like these old keyboards are e-waste and not worth saving. They don't really know what they kind of do. Yeah, and it sucks. E-waste can be such a treasure trove. There's so much cool stuff that you can find in there with like old keyboards, old components, peripherals, and things like that. It's just kind of a shame that a lot of stuff most people just said, let's just throw it away. It's not worth it. So that's the really kind of. So I would just encourage maybe again look in the e-waste bins at like the college, or talk to people who work in the IT department and say like, hey, is there any old tech bins or like in like the storage warehouse for the school? Like, is there any? Can I maybe look through the old stuff that you guys maybe eventually are going to throw away? Because you never know. And they may look at you like you're crazy because you want to go tech dumpster diving, but you never know. There's some cool stuff. All right, let's get these other ones kind of soldered in. Looking good. This one. All right, coming along. Cool. All right, we got our like main perimeter of this particular board done, which is really nice. So that is really good. So let's just start kind of doing our main alpha cluster, and then we should be done with this particular board. So you can go down the middle right here. All right. Yeah, you never know what you're going to find there. Like I said, to most people who aren't crazy like us, who like this hobby, again, they're completely, most of that old tech is just completely useless. So, let me just get more solder lead. Yeah, that would be the thing. Yeah, you just never know, and it's a shame because like so much cool stuff just gets donated to e-waste, and I'm like, bro, there's so much cool stuff there. It's hidden treasures. So, yeah, these solder joints are looking good, and then we'll test the greens because these are the ones that are the most frustrating. Cool. Let's go over here really quick. So we're just kind of going through and soldering all these joints. Cool. Looking pretty good here. Give me a second. Cool. Awesome, awesome. Cool. Coming along on this one, folks. Cool. Looking good. Almost getting close with this one. Coming along. Cool. Cool. Looking good. Looking good, folks. So we're coming along. Cool. cool. Yeah, these green Alps are going to sound awesome. Awesome. Nice. Looking really good, folks. Yeah. Yeah, used computer stores are also a really good place. Again, thrift stores, you just have to get really lucky. Give me a second. Almost there, folks. Alright, last handful of switches on this one. So I got like 7 more switches on this green Alps Keycult. Yeah, you just kind of I think like thrift stores I think the days of finding cool stuff in thrift stores pretty consistently are long gone, unfortunately. So you kind of have to go to like old e-waste places or like old electronic stores to like find this stuff, unfortunately, or just kind of be diligent and look on Facebook Marketplace and see what people have. Okay, last switch on here. Cool. Alright, I think we're done soldering this particular one, and we're going to start testing. Yeah, some estate sales also can maybe have some good stuff. You just never know. It's just all about getting lucky and know what you're looking for. And just hoping that the people selling it have no idea what they have. I think that's why I got this thing for so cheap, is because I don't think the guy really knew what he had. So yeah, here we go. So here's our Green Alps assembly. Here's our Green Alps Keycult. So this is an internal assembly for a Keycult number 265. So there are all of our little solder joints on there, everybody. So all of our switches look pretty good. All look good. Now we're going to start testing these things, and we're going to kind of figure it out. Yeah, so let's plug our JST in, and let's start testing this puppy. All right, let's get my USB-C cable out, and we'll get going. Oh, so I'll tell you what I did. Most of these greens have been plate swapped. So these have the short white switch plate on these. That's the only way to get green Alps to work. So I'm not going to jinx it, but hopefully we don't have a high failure rate on these. These all have white switch plates. So let's just kind of see and hope for the best, everybody. Let's see what we get. All right, corner. So far, so good. Navigation column's good. Okay, we have one that's being weird. Windows key works. Caps lock kind of works. We'll see. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, really good. Yeah, we're having a good switch rate so far. Now we have a few we'll take apart and see what's up with the switch plates, but we also have the desolder gun. It's actually not that bad. I think we only have about 8 switches that are being faulty. So I don't think so. We're just gonna check with the switch plates. Yeah, so they're working. And again, the thing that's nice, these still sound and feel. I was talking with Sherisan, and he basically said that's what he would do. That's the only way to really keep these green Alps with gray switch plates going is to swap them with the short white switch plates. So that's what we're gonna do. So, all right, we're gonna kind of this one right here is being a little weird. So we're just gonna kind of go row by row. There's a few switches, and if we have to desolder, we'll desolder. But yeah, that's what we're doing. So yeah, because I know the oranges are good and solid. So we really just want to get these ones going. In the meantime, I'm gonna plug my mouse in. My mouse needs a little charge. Yeah, so put the white short switch plate in. So gonna get that one going. Cool, feeling good. So we're just gonna kind of go row by row and see what we can do with these switches. Okay, let's try this. Just want to make sure my bottom row is good, and then we'll kind of go to our main alpha cluster. Okay, looking good. Let's go to my matrix tester. Okay, good. Now my spacebar is being stupid. Fun. Okay, let's play with the spacebar really quick. So this is where most of the work's going to be in terms of troubleshooting. 'Cause I know the set of orange Alps we're putting in for this client work, because I had those in a previous build, personal build. So those are good. So we're just kind of going through. I'd really like to avoid desoldering, but we'll see. So I've noticed just kind of compressing the switch plate does a pretty good job of making sure everything works. I'm also going to send spare switches with the to the client. So that was at their request. So, oh, I love that these ping like crazy. So that is awesome. Cool. All right, those are looking good. Ah, darn it. Just trying to make my switch tester a little bit smaller so I can see my screen. There we go. Cool. Looking good. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I love the ping on these. Like, Green Alps ping like crazy. Okay, caps lock is being kind of funky. Caps lock and tab are being weird. So we're going to do caps lock and tab next. So caps lock and tab. Okay, let's pull these out. Yeah, so we're just kind of working through these, making sure everything works. So that whole bottom row works. That one works. So now it's just that compression does it pretty good. And again, since these are linear Alps, there are no tactile or click leaves, which are really cool. All right, cool. All right, let's plug those in. Let's try those. Okay, those all work. Bottom row is good. Okay, let's try the navigation column. Those look good. Okay, that's good. That's good. Our right shift looks good. Enter looks good. Slash backspace looks good. So now we're just going to kind of focus on our number area. So I'm going to do our bottom row first. That's perfect. All right, so we have 5 switches in our bottom alpha row right here that we're going to fix. So, all right, we're going to take apart this one. Oops, didn't get opened. That's one. These two, this one. Perfect. And then these two. Perfect. Just kind of going switch by switch, folks, and just being very thorough in what we do. So, perfect. All right, let's pull these sliders out. And we're going to pull out these springs really quick, and then we'll get these switch plates compressed. And that should help make the contact again. Perfect. And that should do it. Cool. All right, let's put these puppies back together. I got my switch opener from Careless, where I get most of my Alps stuff from. So Careless is a switch opener. It's 3D printed, and you can buy it on his website for like $10. But I'm pretty sure if you asked Careless, he'd probably just give you the design so you can make your own. So, but my switch opener is from Careless, so it makes life 1,000 times easier opening up Alp switches. So this thing's probably opened a few thousand Alp switches at this point. So, but yeah, reach out to Careless. His is pretty good. And again, his is 3D printed, so I'm assuming Careless would just give you the file, and then you can just make it at home. So, perfect. Cool. Yeah, Careless, I'll be completely honest. I've opened, this is the only switch opener I've had since I got into Alps, and I've opened up thousands of Alps switches, and this thing has been pretty good. So, yeah, talk to Careless. So I haven't had any issues with this thing. It's retesting everything. Okay, we're going to pull out the desolder gun. Because, yeah, these switches need to be desoldered. So, yeah, these are going to have to be desoldered and we're going to swap switch plates. So, yeah. So, good times, everybody. I have a metric crap load of switch plates on hand. So, I think I do. So, yeah. Okay, this one we're pulling out. Okay. It's a benefit of having parts on hand. Okay, cool. So we got those. Huh. No, switch plates are working. What the heck? That's weird. Like, okay. I'm going to pull this one out and see what we can do. So, no, switch plates work. They're registering. Okay. We're just going to have some fun troubleshooting today, folks. Again, that's the fun of green Alps. They're so much fun to work on. Yeah, green Alps are a metric boatload of fun. There's a reason I don't do a lot of green Alps builds going forward anymore. Because they're just so much freaking work. Okay, yeah, these are registering. I don't know what's up with these. Okay. Let me just see. Alright. We're going to do some adjustment. I really don't want to have to desolder stuff, so we can just make these work. That would be awesome. Let's unplug this puppy. Let's get these in. That one's good. Yeah, this is the one that's going to be most of the work with the troubleshooting. So, and green Alps are just kind of finicky. And also that shift is being weird. So we're going to be very thorough in how we test this thing. Cool. Take a look at this shift really quick. That one was being weird. Ah, crap. Give me a second. I'm trying to get this one open. There we go. So I genuinely want to see this one. We're going to do a little bit of a test on this. Do a little bit of a test on this one. We're going to do a little bit of a compression. And then we're going to... Okay. See if these work, folks. Like I said, we are not sending... This is a client build. We're going to make sure this thing is absolutely perfect. Alright, stick those to the side. Let's try this matrix again. Alright. I think we're going to just have to desolder these. Oh, fun. Alright. We're going to have to desolder because it's just, I don't think it's something about these switch plates are being a pain in the butt. So, yeah. So, let's do some desoldering. Let's get the desoldering gun fired up. And, yeah, we're going to go from there. We're going to do some swapping. Which is okay. So, let's flip this around. Let's open up our vent, and then let's get our desolder gun out of here. Okay, getting our desolder tools out. Here we go, everybody. Alright, let's get this puppy fired up. Okay, let's make sure our temperature is good. Perfect. Alright, let's get her warmed up. Yeah, you're lucky because you don't deal with green Alps. Again, green Alps are the bane of my existence. I've done enough. I don't know. If you're a sane, normal person, you maybe do like one green Alps build ever, you're probably not going to experience the issues with green Alps that I have. But if you're doing like hundreds or thousands of these damn things, that's where you were kind of seeing I've done enough where I see the high failure rate, unfortunately, with these puppies. So it's just kind of the nature of the game, unfortunately, with green Alps. That's just kind of how it goes. So it's okay. So, yeah. Alright. Just making sure everything on the Hacko is going good. I got a little bit of solder here, which you gotta just dump. It'll be good. Sweet. Awesome. Alright, we are warmed up. Cool, got that one. And then I just want to see what the picture I took. I got to look at the diagram of what we got to do. Okay, these two got to go. So these two got to go. We got a clog already. Hold up. So one thing about the Hacko too, it's a very finicky tool. So clogs are unfortunately pretty simple on this damn tool. There we go. There we go. There's your problem. So yeah, we're good now. Alright, those two. So we've done those two. One right here. And then this one. Alright, we have a really bad clog in here now. Now we got a bad clog, everybody. Yeah, I love the Hacko. It's a very finicky tool. Oh yeah, we got a decent clog here. Here we go. Yeah, gotta desolder. Just gotta. I mean, the Hakko is the only desoldering pump that I recommend, but just it is a very high maintenance and very finicky tool. So yeah. There we go. Cool. Got a couple pretty decent clogs right there. So if you look right there, those are clogs in the dang thing. So yes, work. Thank you. All right, let's pull these out, and then yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So let's pull out this one right here. Cool. And then these two. There we go. Yep. This one right here. Perfect. And then that one. Cool. All right. So, pulled out some green Alps right there. Perfect. All right. Kind of throw those to the side. I want to go through and test some other ones and figure out if there's any other ones we got to replace. Yeah, screw it. I'll kind of go row by row as we kind of go through this thing, everybody. Oh yeah, dude, this Hakko's like $300, dude. Don't remind me. I hate how expensive this stupid thing is. Do not remind me. Okay, where am I gonna? Cool. All right, we're gonna swap switch plates from here. Cool. All right, we're gonna be swapping switch plates from these pine whites. So. But yeah, that's what we're doing, folks. Switch plates are no bueno. Okay, cool. That's good. So yeah, this is the part of the build that's just going to take forever on the greens. These are just bad switch plates, unfortunately. Oh, wait. It's from a pine white. That's good. That's a good switch plate. Okay, let's grab my pliers, and we're going to go from here. Pull this one out. Cool. Let's open up another one. And this is the part of the process. Again, the oranges shouldn't be like this. The oranges are in really good condition, so we're pretty good there. So, and I had those oranges in a previous personal build, so those we shouldn't have any issues. So yeah, I wanted to do the green Alps first because that's the one that's just kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah. Because I think in my personal collection I only have one green Alps build, and there's a reason for that. Because they're just such a pain. And also linear Alps are just kind of whatever. If I'm being completely honest. So yeah. Cool. So we got one more for this row, and then we'll go through and test it. All right, let's solder these really quick. All right, let's unplug the soldering gun really quick, plug my vent in. I don't want to breathe this crap in. All right, let's get this one going. Let's resolder these puppies. Cool. All right. Got that one in. Let's try this again. Again, the green Alps are the ones that are a pain in the butt. I don't believe we're gonna have this issue with our orange Alps. So that's why I wanted to get this one out of the way. All right, let's see. All right, let's get our matrix tester open on this one, and we'll kind of go from there. So, let's just retest my... Okay, that whole bottom row is good. Enter is good. Slash. Backspace. Caps lock is good. Tab is good. Cool. All right, let's go to our next row. Okay, we got a switch that's weird. Again, I want to be very thorough in how I do these. Okay, that's a weird switch. Okay, we got two faulty switches. We have our letter S and we have our letter L. So, all right. Oh, S is being fine. Okay. But letter L, not working. Okay. So, let's disassemble letter L and let's go from there. So let's try fixing the switch plate with my pliers, and then we'll just kind of go from there and see what's going on. But yeah, so it is very much a process getting these puppies working. So, and that's part of why I like Alps, is it's just so much fun tinkering with these things and just having fun with them. So that's essentially what we're here for, folks. So, okay. Okay, let's try it again. All right, we're gonna desolder that switch. Okay, D's being weird. So we're gonna try letter D. That's not giving. That's not being as responsive as I would like. So let's just try and see how this one goes. Cool. All right. Gonna try letter D really quick. Oh man. Good times, everybody. Good times. All right. Let's try this again. Yeah, L's good. Okay, D is, yeah, so we're gonna do L and D on this one. So that's what we're desoldering. Put my mouse back in, just let it charge. Okay, so letter D right here. Now, it would help if it's plugged in. There we go. Let's let that warm up. So, grab a couple white switches, swap switch plates on. Waiting for that Hacko to come on. All right, let's get these things going. Cool. Got another clog on the Hacko. Good times, everybody. I mean, no, yeah, there's your clog. It's okay. Yeah, so let me grab that. Yeah. Ooh, I got a bot in my chat, everybody. Got us like and subscribe to get those viewers. I know, hella sus. Look at that, man. Unconvicted Scar FR4Q9A. Best viewers. I'm like, nah, dude. I want people to be here on stream because they want to be here. So that's how it goes. So there we go. All right, cool. Let this thing heat up. There we go. Sweet. All right, let's pull these two out. Oops. There's that one, and then that one. Cool. Awesome. So let's get these pine whites disassembled. Let's get these switch plates because these are the good switch plates we want. There's that one. Let's get this one. Cool. Those are our switch plates that we want. Let's pull these greens apart. Let's get that switch plate out. And I got a little graveyard of switch plates growing here. Cool. All right, let's put these in and let's get these puppies soldered in, and then we'll be able to go from there. And then we'll have basically 2 more rows we got to test, and then we should be good. So let's just put these 2. Cool. Cool. Awesome. All right, let's plug our JST in and let's get this one going. Cool. Good. Got 1 in this, 2. These 2 right here. 3, 4. Okay, wait. Okay, those 2 aren't work. Okay, so we're gonna basically do. Okay, this one's not working, so let's unplug these. We're working our way there, folks. This one's getting there. Okay, green Alps are a lot more work for me, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna desolder that one, and then this one for sure. All right, let's pull these ones out. Cool. Let's pull these ones out. More of a graveyard. Look at that little graveyard of switch plates, everybody. Let's pull out these bottom portions. Cool. Cool. All right. Let's get a couple switches and get these switch plates going. good. Give me a second. Let's get these ones installed. Cool. And then let's get this one. I'll help if I put a switch plate in it. All right. Cool. Solder those in. Cool. Cool. All right, let's try this row again. Okay, we still have these two. Let's reset this. I want to still having some issues here. Okay, we're gonna take this one out. This one right here. See if we can compress that switch plate because we just put that one in. Cool. Come on. Oop. Yeah, a lot of troubleshooting with this one. For sure. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, this one we're taking out. This one's not registering. Okay. And then these two we're going to remove too. These two are not registering properly. We'll do this top row too, just to kind of figure out what's not registering. All right, cool. So these three are coming out. I wanted to go through the top row. Okay, we're gonna reset our switch test really quick because I want to see something that's not looking correct. That's good. Backspace is good. Okay, we have two switches up here, so this one. And then this one we're going to take out. Cool. All right. All right, we're going to go through and test all of our switches again, just so we can make sure everything is good before we desolder these last 5. But yeah, we're looking good so far. All right. Again, we're being very thorough in how we test this. I am going to send extra switches with the client just to make sure everything looks good and they can have spares. Being very thorough in how we test this. All right. All right, so it's just these 5, of course. So let's get these ones desoldered. And we'll grab 5 switches we'll transplant switch plates from. We'll go from there. Cool. Take out this JST just to make my life a little bit easier. We're going to plug in the vent. Oh wait, now we gotta desolder first. Oh wait, messing up my order of stuff. Gosh. Pull this one. This switch, and then there's one more. Cool. All right, let's get these puppies out. Cool. All right, let's pull these puppies out. Got a nice little graveyard of switch plates. There we go. Awesome. Let's pull these out. Cool. Cool. All right, we got those last 5, folks. So hopefully the switch plate transplant works, and then we should be good. So done with the desoldering gun for right now. Let's let that cool down. Let's get these switches. Let's get the switch plates out of these pine whites. Coming along. Cool. All right, got our switch plates. Let's get these switches reassembled, and we'll go from there. Cool. So going pretty good, folks. So we're getting this one going. And this is going to be a little bit of a longer string because this is only the first build. We have a second build, but the orange build should not have this level of troubleshooting because I know the orange Alps and the other, that we're putting in the other board work just fine. Cool. All right. Solder these little buggers in. Cool. There we go. Cool. All right, friends, let's put that to the side. All right, let's put this JST in here, and that should be the Green Alps build complete, hopefully. Let's not jinx it, but we should be good to go here. All right. Let's see what we got, folks. All right. Good times. Doing another round of testing. Cool. All right. All the green Alps work on this one. So I tested it in vial. I just want to go over to VIA just to kind of double check everything. So I just like using multiple switch testers, make sure everything pops up correctly. All right, looking good so far. Cool. All right, we are good. This green Alps build is ready to go. So yeah, that one is pretty good. So this one's good. So the orange Alps build should be a lot quicker. Shouldn't be the pain in the butt that was. But yeah, there we go, folks. There's our green Alps. So yeah, that's why green Alps are a pain in the ass. I hate working with green Alps. I want to do one last little test here. I just want to test I want to test the stabilized keycaps really quick. So this is my DCS white on black kit, which is going to be actually going on a cool build we're going to be doing within the next couple of weeks. So I just want to put this on my keycaps really quick and just test that everything is feeling good. So we're just going to do a quick stabilizer test on this one. All right, so love that ping. That sounded really good. All right, and then we want to get our enter and then our backspace. Just want to have these ones on here just to test my stabs. Yep. Stabs are feeling good. Yeah, we're good. All right, let me take these off. Perfect. Perfect. Good. That one all funky. I'll fix that one. There we go. That one came out. I gotta fix the spring in here. Get off alignment. Give me a second. Let's just test that. Fix that. That spring came off alignment when I pulled that keycap off. So. There we go. Just test that really quick, and then we'll be good. This one will be done. Give me a minute to get into switch to. All right, we're good. All right, done with green Alps. Thank God. Over green Alps. Do not like working with green Alps. It's probably I like green Alps, like in terms of like once they're in a build, but building with them, they absolutely sucks. So green Alps are done. Let's move on to orange Alps. This build should be a little more smooth. Let's put my DCS white on black away first. we're going to use this in a build next week, which is going to be really cool. So pretty much, dude. They are pretty much Grinch Alps. They suck. So many switches I had to, like, you had to dead switch plates. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 dead switches in those damn greens. Good God. That sucks, everybody. So, damn shame, but hey. My little graveyard. It's okay. So, good times, everybody. All right, let's move on to the oranges. These should not be the pain in the ass that the greens are. Alright, let's throw that to the side. Let's start soldering these puppies. These should be a lot more painless. Hopefully. Yeah, this one should not be as painful. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, you're lucky, man. So green Alps suck. So I absolutely hate green Alps with like a burning passion. So, and you see why. So, yeah, there is a reason green Alps are the bane of my existence. Give me a second. Yeah, those are I've had very good success with those switches. I haven't had any issues with any of those. It's oranges and greens I have worked with a lot because those are very popular for client builds. So that's where a lot of my issues are. But yeah, these oranges I had in my Geon F1 8X 722. So I know these switches work. Cool. Alright, just getting this number row on here. Alright, let's get these going. coming along. Yeah, just give me a second. There we go. Cool. All right, that number row is done. Let's go to the space bar really quick. Cool. Nice. Looking good. Cool. Making our way around, folks. Cool. That side's looking good. Let's move on over to this side, folks. Cool. Looking good. Coming along, folks. Coming along. Good times. All right, cool. We have kind of the surroundings. We just got to do these 3 internal parts of our alpha cluster, and then this board will be ready for testing. So we shouldn't. I don't think we're gonna have the issues with the green Alps. So thankfully that stinking green Alps build's done, because I really want to get this one done. Cool. All right, come along. Looking good, folks. Looking good. Good. Looking good, folks. Let's get some more solder lead on this. Give me a second. Cool. Awesome. Almost there, folks. Cool. Got like our last little row of switches here, and then we will be moving on to testing on this one. Cool. All right. See how this goes. We are done soldering, folks. I'm going to attach my JST, and then we're going to start testing. So let's get it going, folks. So let's push that out of the way. Let's get my mouse. Hopefully shouldn't have to desolder anything on this one. But yeah, that red plate looks clean though. Look at that. So, all right, let's get vial opened up, and we're gonna test it. There we go. Spacebar is good. Alt. All right, that's looking good so far. No problematic switches on this one. Heck yeah. All right, I'm just going to open up VIA and use that switch tester in VIA really quick, and then we should be good with our just kind of stress testing on this one. All right. Cool. All right. We are 100% good on this one. This one is, again, way less of a nightmare than the other one. So that's nice. So that looks pretty good. Let me just X out via. So that looks really nice. I do want to test my just stabilizers on this really quick. So get my DCS white on black, because DCS is what the client's going to use. This is my personal set. This is not going to the client. I just want to test our stabilized keycaps. Where's my enter? Where are you? There you are. Cool. Yeah, we are looking good. So, all right, we're going to pull these off, put our DCS away, and then I'm pretty much going to get these packed up and ready to go drop off at the post office tomorrow. And our client, who is international, is going to probably get these within the next couple of weeks, depending on how fast the postal service is. So let me just put these away, and then we'll just kind of showcase both assemblies before we get on out of here. Alright, put these DCS white on blacks away. Let's grab that black Alps assembly. Let's turn off my soldering iron. We're pretty much done with that. So here we go. We got our orange Alps assembly and we have our green Alps assembly. So let's just take a look at both of these here on camera. So there we go, everybody. So those look really great. And again, these plates come from our, again, one of our friends of the channel and sponsors, Tom over at Hype Keyboards. So these Alps plates are absolutely gorgeous and they look fantastic. So these are for a couple of Keycult No.2 65s for a client commission. So these are going to the same client, which is really, really cool. So these are going to look really great. And again, these are going to be using DCS keycaps, hence why we have the Cherry MX stabilizers in here. So flipping over on the back, not too glorious, but again, that is my soldering job, everybody. So these are all soldered in, and both sets of these switches are stress tested and they work. So we got linear green Alps and we have tactile orange Alps. So really, really good, folks. So all right, we're gonna end this stream there, folks. I'm gonna get both of these wrapped up and ready to go for the client. I'm gonna also include a few additional. The client also requested some spare switches just in case things do break in the future or whatnot. They just want to have some on hand. So we're probably gonna include about 5 or so switches for the client. So yeah, there we go, folks. So again, everyone, those of you who tuned in, whether you stayed the whole time or you tuned in for different ports, thank you so much, folks. Again, we're not going to be streaming for the next few days. Again, I'm going to be at a work conference over the next few days. So again, we'll see y'all next week with starting with some really exciting builds, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening. Again, you'll look for these pictures of these and posts of these on Discord and Reddit and also Instagram. And also the VOD of tonight's stream will also be on YouTube later tonight.